Hello everyone. So this is the very first episode of Cloud Generalist 1. We'll talk about servers. So according to you, what exactly is a server? What do you think about a server? So you must have seen in movies or in a very famous web series, I think it's called the Mr. Robot, I guess. Yeah. So you must have seen in some of the scenes that he enters some building in which there are rows of machines with multiple blinking lights and all, and he's doing something with his computer connecting to one of the machines. So what exactly are those rows of machines, and what exactly are placed? What the machine that is placed on one of the racks? What exactly it is? So in general language, it is called a server, and fundamentally if I make a comparison, a server, let us denote it like this. It is like a this with certain lights here and certain buttons here. So this is a server, and this is equivalent to your PC, the PC that we use at home, or the laptop that we use at home, right? So a server is identical to a PC. And why is that? The question is, why is that, right? So because what are the fundamental components of your PC? The fundamental components of your PC are the memory, that you also call RAM, random access memory, the storage, HDD or STD, whatever, and CPU, or the processor, what we call it. These are the fundamental components that makes up a computer. Now you'll say, right, what about display and key? Those are just peripherals and extra devices. So these three things are the main components of a computer that make up a computer. Without these, even one of these things missing, a computer will not work. Now these exactly same things are in a server. These three things, exactly same things. Now you'll ask, like, what then? Why is it like built like this and not like this? Because, like, a personal computer or a PC is personal to you. That's why it's called a personal computer, right? It's personal to you. It is owned by you, and you will be only using it. No one else outside that you don't know can use that, right? But a server is a computer that can be rented out. That's the whole idea behind cloud computing. That a server is a server, or a compute machine that we call in general language, is to be able to be rented out to general public or companies or anyone who wants it. So if I want a computer, for example, if I want a PC, so I'll go out to a shop or online. I'll check the specifications, like 16 gigabytes of RAM, and some gigahertz of 4 gigahertz of processor, and some storage like 1 terabyte something. So server is similar kind of thing. Server also has specification, but it's very in comparison to a personal computer, it's very huge. So it will have around 1,000 gigabytes. A general server I'm talking about, of RAM, and around 1 petabyte of storage, and some 64 core or 128 core CPU. So it's made to be rented out to general public. Now the reason it is made so strong, because a server can be divided into multiple parts. So for example, if I have a server with these specifications, I can divide this server into certain number of machines, different machines, right? You must have heard about, there is a term called virtualization. So what do you do in virtualization? You can turn one hardware into multiple. You can use a single hardware as multiple computers. You can divide the hardware into certain parts. So for example, out of this 1000 GB, I can make 10 computers with 100 gigabytes of RAM, or 20 computers of 50 gigabytes of RAM. So you're getting my idea, right? So server is exactly same as PC. There is nothing different. The only difference, if I tell you in a very layman term, is called a network. Now, network, generally in general terms, we call it the internet. Now you'll say that you can connect the internet to a PC also, right? But the only difference is that you have to connect internet to a PC. It's not a by default property of your PC, right? You can exactly turn your PC into a server, but yeah, it's not as efficient because server is made to do that job. So what happens, like why is the internet there? So that general public like you, me, how will we reach? Like these servers are placed inside rack. The racks, you can see, you remember from the earlier example, right, from Mr. Robot, that there are rows of racks inside a data center, and then there are multiple data centers inside availability zone. We'll talk about it. So we need, if I rent out some hardware, I rent out some amount of it, how will I reach that? I cannot go walk inside a data center and ask to use the hardware, right? I need to do it through internet. I'll rent it through internet. I'll go and I'll tell any of the cloud providers that I need this amount of hardware in this specification. So what they'll do through internet, some magic happens, and it's a very advanced topic. But yeah, so what happens is that I'll submit my request. They go there and they do some kind of virtualization, and I get the connection through RDP and whatever. There are multiple mechanisms through you can connect to a server. So I'll get the access to this server in some way. So it is because it is always 24/7. It's connected to a network. So this is basically what a server is. And yeah, let's move on. So now there was something that I was talking about called networking, right? Networking is a topic in its own, but I think I should tell you very basic about it. What exactly it is in terms of a server, and what is the purpose of it to be. Why it is essential for a server to have network, right? So you must have heard about a term that's called hosting, and you must have heard it in terms of website hosting. Like when you create a website, you want other people to access it and people on the internet to see that website. So you host that website somewhere. Now, where do you host that website? What exact place? Like what exactly you do when you do hosting? So let's come to very basic. So let's say you are a React developer or any kind of stack developer, and you created a website with one page. It has HTML frames, HTML structure. Inside you have images, and you have text, you have CSS to make that image beautiful, and you have some JavaScript functionality to it to perform, so that this website performs something. But now the website is locally in your own PC, right? It is using your own PC's hardware, your CPU, your storage, and your memory to run. Whenever you've heard about localhost, whenever you try to run, whenever you're creating the website to test it, it's running on localhost, and it's not accessible to anyone, right? What do? Generally, when we talk about hosting, you rent a server with any of the cloud providers. You rent a server. The server has CPU, storage, memory, similar to your computer. You put this website here in the server. The server is 24 connected to the network. So now your website is, in very layman terms, I'm telling, this is not very technical. Now your website is available for people to view 24/7 on the internet. Because earlier your website was in your PC, though nobody was able to see it. Now it is in the server that is connected to the network 24/7. Now everyone is able to see it. So you get very basic idea what exactly is the role of server. Why there is a server, why server exists, why we call it server. Because it's whenever I as a user and you as a user, you will request some website, you'll enter some address, it will serve you the website. What exact serving means? Whenever you open a website through browser, this exact same thing happens, right? It throws all these files, HTML, CSS, images, text, whatever you write into that, it throws it into your browser, and your browser shows it to you, right? Very simple. Now, what is the address? What I was talking about, right? What is the exact address? So there is something called IP address. Term called IP address. You must have heard about this term. So as of now, I think I should tell you, and for you to not get confused, this is very similar to your home address. For an example, for someone out there, any guests, any friends and family to reach to you, they need your physical address, right? You live on some building, at some street, in some town, in some city, in some state, and then in some country. Similarly, IP address will tell that where exactly. So you rent out a server and it will get an IP address, something. What exactly it is? What are the rules to create IP address? What are its structure? It's a different video, but I'll tell you it will be something like 198.162.1.1. So this is a very unique address that your server will get, and if someone will go to this address, they will be able to see your website. Now there are multiple things to it. There is something called ports and DNS, because you do not enter this address in the browser whenever you log in, right? You enter something like google.com or some name. So how DNS works, this is again some other video. In very layman things, this address is used to locate your server on the network, on the internet, and inside whenever someone enters this address, they will be able to see your website. Yeah, that's hosting for you in very simple terms, right? So that is the role of server. Why server has a CPU and storage and memory? It's because it's doing the same thing that your PC is doing, but it's doing that being live on a network, so that every other person on the world can also visit your website, right? Okay, moving on. Now I have talked about what exactly is a server and what it is made up of, what it is used for, and what is basically a server. But how servers are managed is a very good question, and I think I should tell you about right now. So I'll create a downward stream flowchart. So at the top there is something called region. Below that we have availability zone. Below that we have data centers, I guess, yeah. Below that we have a row. Below that we have a rack. I'm sorry, is it visible on the video? Yeah, rack. And below that we have not below that, like in a rack we have server. So a region, if I give you an example of a region, according to cloud terms, a region is an area in which there are multiple availability zones available. So for example, in terms of India, North India is a region, and inside North India there are 3 or 4 availability zones, one in Delhi, one in UP, and one somewhere in, I think, Haryana, Gurugram, I guess. So inside north region there are 3 availability zones. Now inside one availability zone there can be multiple data centers. Generally there are more than 1, 2 or 3, something like that. So inside one availability zone there are data centers. Inside one data center, we came back to an example from Mr. Robot, that there are rows of servers that you must have seen in movies, like rows and rows of machines lying there and stacked on top of each other. So there are rows of servers. Or if you just pick up one item from the row, then you will get a rack. Rack is like a machine. You will see machines stacked on one above another. And if you take out one machine out of that, then you will get a server. Server, we have talked about what exactly it is. It is similar to your personal computer, but it has access to the network 24/7, right? So this is the general idea of how servers are managed across an area. So region. The terms that I'm using are a little bit biased towards Azure, Microsoft's Azure services, but because these are very generic terms. But yeah, Azure has used them directly. Other providers like AWS and Google Cloud, they use very non-generic terms. They have their own terms to use for these words. But yeah, these are very generic terms: region, availability zone, data center, row, rack, and service. Okay. So now you understood what exactly servers are, but if you have a very basic idea of cloud, even if you are a computer science student, and if you have very basic low level knowledge, then you might have heard that there are something called IaaS and PaaS and SaaS. So this is called infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. So these are again terms made by the people that who came early into this industry, and I don't really like these terms. These are okay to if you have very basic knowledge about computer science and how things work beforehand, then only these terms are useful for you. But I don't really recommend this term going through these terms and trying to search, because these will if you're a beginner or if you're just starting, these terms will only confuse you. They'll do nothing else. So I do not use these terms. I'll try to explain this in my way. So a server is a very powerful computer, like I told about, right? It's very powerful. It had around 1,000 gigabytes of memory, a petabyte of storage, and like a large core, like 64 cores, 128 cores kind of CPU. It's very strong CPU. Now, for a general person like me, I want to host a website. So, do I need that kind of compute power, like 1,000 gigabytes of RAM? No, right? I just need a very small part of it, right? So, what exactly server does to do this, right? Server, one thing is that it does virtualization, right? Virtualization. So in virtualization, what it does, it breaks down the part. There is some magic going on. I will not talk about right now. It's a very high level topic. Virtualization. It does something internally using something, and it breaks down the hardware into smaller parts. Like it out of the 1,000 GB, it will give me 8 gigabytes of RAM, 2 core of CPU, and 500 gigabytes of storage to use so that I can use it as a server for myself. So that is called virtualization, and that is one part of it. That is, infrastructure is being broken down into smaller parts for a normal person to be used, right? Now, second thing a server can do is, like, I don't want to manage a server like it, right? I don't want to break down. I don't care about CPUs and what memory. I just have my website, PHP, React, whatever, and I just want to put it there. I'll just give you the code and you just run it. I don't care how many CPU or how many RAM you use. Okay, so infrastructure, that's what they call IaaS. So you get the server yourself, you do whatever by yourself. The earlier example. Now what I was talking about was PaaS. That I just give you my website. I'll put it on your platform. You host it and you do internal management, how much RAM it needs, how much storage it needs. You manage it. I'll just give you my website. Third is software as a service. So this software as a service, this is very different from these two. So these two are mostly used by developers and technical people. This is used by everyone out there. Normal users like you, me, your father, your mom, everyone. So SaaS is like, in IaaS, I was just getting a server. It's a kind of PC in which I'll run my application myself. PaaS, I was giving my files to them. They will run their application whatever they want, whatever way they want. I just want my application running. SaaS is this application is also theirs. I just want to use that application whatever functionality. For example, you might have used Canva. Canva is a very good example. Designers use it. Canva or mails, Google Mail or Outlook. So it's created by the software is also theirs. The platform is also theirs, and everything is theirs. I am just a user. So this is used by normal people, for developers or for technical people also, but for normal people also, like your dad, your mom, everyone, even non people who don't know about anything about servers and IaaS and PaaS, they also use mails, right? So this is a very basic example. So server is like aloo. You might have heard about it, right? Potato. In India, like we use aloo in different kind of vegetables. Like aloo can be turned into multiple dishes. You can turn it into a sabzi and into paratha and into, you can use it in biryani. So yeah, server is like a aloo. You can mend it any way you want. Not you, specifically the cloud providers that we have in this case. They mend it in different ways that they want, and then they serve it to you. So Azure uses something, gives you something like virtual machines in terms of IaaS offering. They directly, you can directly use your server, and they give you something called app service in terms of PaaS offering, and AWS, I don't exactly, I'm not able to recall exactly. It's something like Elastic Beanstalk for PaaS offering. And IS, I'm not able to recall the name. But yeah, everyone has their own names regarding this. So yeah, this is what I wanted to tell, right? So internally, whatever you put it down here, IS, PaaS, SaaS, identity service, whatever, internally it's a server only. Server is doing different kind of things. Server also comes on in different types of variations. So for example, if I just want a online server, I want something for storage. I want to store 100 gigabytes or 1 petabyte or 500 terabytes. I want a server for that. So there is server specifically made for that, which has a lot of storage, but not much of other things like compute or memory. I want a server just for compute purposes, so that I want to run a process continuously. I am running some AI application. Artificial intelligence requires a lot of data to be processed continuously. So I want something for that. So for that I need very high CPU, but not too much storage. Probably storage is also needed, but not too much memory. So for that, servers also come in different shapes, but yeah, those are very advanced topics. So this was a very basic explanation for the topic servers. And I hope you must have understood. If you have any questions, you can leave comments below. And if I left something out, you can also point it out. That's totally fine. This is a free course, and I want to make this very interactive, right? So yeah, that's all. Servers for you. Bye.